Business Leader of the Year, Mr. Karan Adani.
Our heartiest congratulations to Mr. Adani.
अब आपको दिखाते हैं अदानी पोर्ट्स और एसईजेड के एमडी करण अदानी से एक्सक्लूसिव बातचीत। दिल्ली में दिए गए आयमा अवार्ड्स में करण अदानी को बिजनेस लीडर ऑफ द ईयर अवार्ड दिया गया है। इस खास बातचीत में करण अदानी ने कहा कि भारत में फॉर्मूला 1 रेसिंग को फिर से शुरू करने की कोशिश में है। करण अदानी ने बताया कि भारत में फॉर्मूला 1 के लिए बहुत बड़ी संख्या में प्रशंसक हैं, देश में काफी संभावना है।
I think this session is about something that most of us use but don't actually quite see. Every time a container lands, a flight takes off without drama, a factory gets fuel supply, or a supply chain behaves like it ought to, there's an invisible system working underneath, paddling crazily and constantly growing. This is a system set up by the enterprise called Adani. Karan, welcome to this session. You, your dad, your team, and your system has truly created an enterprise which is quite unique. We used to talk about scale as you see in the US until the Chinese came around. They built factories which were 5, 10, sometimes even 20 times bigger. But what you are showing is actually quite unique. You're doing scale and speed and consistency and quality all at the same time. It'd be interesting to understand from you both what is the motivation and what are the processes that you're using which are unique, which allow you to do this. You are in multiple businesses and appear to be equally successful and growth-oriented in each one. So with me, ladies and gentlemen, for a fireside chat is Karan Adani. Karan, a little bit personal stuff first, if you don't mind. I understand you spent a few years in a missionary school before you went off to Singapore and you finished your school education, etc. Is there anything you learned there in that ecosystem environment which you find useful right now?
First of all, thank you for having me here. Definitely, it was one of the, if you ask me, one of the most important stage of my life, because I had gone when I was in 7th standard. I was there for 3 years. And if you ask me 3 things which I still follow that from my time in school. That is first one is discipline, because knowing, if you know missionary schools, they are very disciplined. 5 o'clock means you have to wake up at 5 o'clock. If you have to get your bed done by yourself, you have to get it to the T. It felt regimented, but it brought in a lot of discipline in me. The second, I would say, is being self-sufficient, right? Because being in boarding school, you have, your ecosystem is basically your friends, and you have to be able to rely on them and at the same time survive as well. So being self-reliant, being self-sufficient was the second thing I really learned. And third one, which was one of the most important, was in the school, we had students from all backgrounds and from all parts of the country. So that was my first exposure coming out of a Guju boy, coming out of Ahmedabad, never seen, never interacted with anybody else, getting an exposure to various other parts of the country, people coming from, students coming from different parts of the country. I think that was something very unique and something which I cherish, and ability to understand where each one comes from.
So you're not seen much publicly. You don't speak much at various platforms, which is why, if you don't mind, I am asking you some of these questions. I know you entered the business in 2009, and 2016, you took charge of the ports and the SEZ platform. But in your office, you have an F1 suit in a glass enclosure. Now, clearly, this is a passion of yours, and it's a unique sport which leans not only on technology, but extreme accuracy, extreme focus. And now, with the potential acquisition of JP, I understand the F1 course that we have in Greater Noida also falls into the Adani fold. Yeah. So can we expect this to get revived and to see F1 races take place in India? And also tell us what you have learned from this, because clearly there is something special that you hold in your heart
definitely.
for F1.
So I've been so I got exposed to Formula One from my friends when I was in Singapore, and I don't know, for some reason I just fell in love with the sport. And this was the time when Michael Schumacher was at his peak and really dominating the whole sport. And it was an inspiration to see how a single person with such grit and such leadership is able to command and be recognized globally. So that was something which was very fascinating. And the most fascinating part was how they used to calculate every millisecond. And every millisecond count, not even every second, every millisecond counted towards whether you win or lose. So it was that was something which really excited me. And I've been following it since 2000, I would say, the sport. It's a passion. My father says it's a very expensive passion, but it is a passion. No, I'm very excited because with JP, obviously the boot circuit comes part of the deal, and we are very excited to. I'm personally driving it, and I'm very personally engaged in terms of bringing Formula One back into India. And I think India has a lot of potential. There is a lot of following in Formula One from India, and I do believe that India can really showcase how a Formula One circuit, or how the Formula One, I would say that whole sport can be brought in and can be a benchmark for a global event.
You're right. I think at this moment, India is going through a significant transformation, and the reputation of India and Indians has improved very, very significantly. So bringing in global sports, global media, I think will be very helpful, both for India and for the world to understand India much better, because everyone knows something is going on in India, but no one quite knows what is going on.
And I completely agree with you that bringing such kind of global events, global sports, giving them exposure to India, and also a lot of our, lot of our people exposure to these kind of sports, because unfortunately the exposure is limited to very few people. And most of the time people end up going to Abu Dhabi or to Singapore or to Doha to experience the sport. So I think there is a lot of potential for our country to demonstrate what we can do in terms of not just infrastructure, but the hospitality, the infrastructure. How do we expose our culture to the global stage? I think this is something which we would like to. That's what my vision is, that when we bring Formula One into India, that's what we need to expose to. It's not just about doing one race and for 3 days, but it's basically how do you showcase the heritage of India
and build the entire ecosystem around it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm staying on you for a little bit longer, and I said, since we don't really get to see you much, so it'll be a good occasion to catch hold of you right now. I understand when you started going to Mundra Port, you used to travel by train, not with any of the aircrafts that your father already owned at that time. Was that deliberate? Was that for a specific reason? Is it something unique you learned on those train journeys? What was going on?
No, so I'll tell you, it's a very interesting story. So, I finished my finals. I was at Purdue, and I finished my final exam of 4th year in May. And I remember the next day he said that just come back to India, because we had almost a 10-day break before the convocation to happen. He's like, why are you going to waste 10 days? Just come back to India. So I came back to India. And the day I landed, okay, one night he gave me. The next day morning, he's like, shouldn't you be going to office? I'm like, sure. I just finished college, but okay, sure. So he's like, I met him in the office, and then he's like, okay, so what do you want to do? So I said, port sounds interesting. So he called Dr. Madhya, who was running a port business at that time. He was the one who built the whole Mundra port and was running the port business. So he called him, and he's like, okay, take him to tonight itself. Just take him to Mundra. Just send him to Mundra. So yeah, so I first journey happened. I didn't know where the train is going to stop. Where do I need to get off? But it was interesting. So directly from US to Mundra. But I think so. First year was very interesting for me because I was put on the field. I was not given any office space, no desk, nothing. I was told to spend time completely on field, be on the coal yard, be on the jetty, learn everything in terms of detailing, how how people are feeling over there, how do they manage on ground level. I think that whole 1 year gave me a lot of exposure in terms of what are the pain points of people on the ground, how do contractors, how do they operate, where are the loopholes that they exploit in those things. So I think that was a very grounded journey for me, and something which has given me a strong foundation when I look back from an operations perspective. And honestly, at that time, Dad had given a very strict instruction: you treat him like a normal employee, not to be given any special privileges. So that's where I had to do what any new fresher would join the business. I had to go through.
Good. So your wife is from the leading legal family of the country, and I understand she also looks after the Gujarat office of Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas. So is that helpful for you in any way in understanding structuring, understanding process in the businesses that you do? Do you actually have conversations at home about the implications of what you do or what you don't do?
No, so I think she's right over there, but no, I think so. The way I would put it is, we work very closely, and as an entrepreneur, as a family business, you generally are very aggressive when you want to grow, when you want to close the deals. And so it's always good to have a family member who is telling, at least showing you where the risk parameters are, and then you take an informed call. But it has worked very nicely for us, because more than anything, we have a shared vision, shared values in terms of how we should be operating, how we should look at how the business should be growing, and that understanding has helped us, grow even stronger.
So the Adani build-out not just looks fast, it is almost unbelievable, the pace at which you are growing right now. So what are your big concerns? As you grow rapidly, there are always obviously some challenges and some risks. So what do you try and protect? Do you try and protect the speed? Do you try and protect the predictability? Do you try and protect the scalability? What are your big concerns as you grow?
So I think it's a very good question, and there is something that we have been, for the last 2 years, it's something that we have been deeply thinking about, and based on that, we are making a lot of changes in the organization. So two things that we have noticed, that as we have scaled, we find that we have become slow and quite fat. So what we feel is, if you want to continue to grow uh, as a group, we are committed to doing greenfield capex of 2 lakh crores every year for the next 5 years. So if we have to physically execute uh, this kind of capex, it's impossible to do it in the current method, right? So for us, what matters is speed and scalability. I think what we are going through as an organization is the transformation in terms of, if we have to protect these two things, what are the non-core activities that we are still continuing from the past, and which we can shed, bring in partners, bring in other stakeholders who can help us and drive that. And we rather focus on the large projects, focus on scale and focus on executing for the business purpose, not for executing for an execution purpose. So I think that's a big change that we are going through.
So good. So while on this, so what is it in our system currently that still bleeds time and money as a resource, like a slow puncture in everything that you do? And because you've actually thought about this now, in sense of sharpening your focus on the key areas, the core areas, capacity addition, of course, is a delight. Everybody likes to grow. So what has been your learning is, what are the parts that you do not want to give up control of as this goes on?
So I think as
There's two parts. I want the first one as well. What is it that causes this pain and the problems?
Sure. So I think as you become bigger and as your scale becomes bigger, the pain point becomes is and the layers, as you become bigger, your layers in the organization increases, right? So I'll just give you an example. Today, from chairman to the bottom level, we have in the group 16 layers, right? And what happens with that is you can't fix accountability because everybody's pushing the buck up or down, right? So when some issue comes, then it's the bottom-most who gets held accountable. If something good is happening, then it is basically the top management which takes the whole credit, right? So I think that is if you ask me, that is a pain point. We realized very, very quickly that actually the people on the ground who are executing, they are the ones who are bringing value. And we need to make sure that they are given the voice at the top to make sure that what is the ground reality is being brought on table so that decisions are made correctly. I think the second point which you asked, second question, is what we want to hold and what we don't want to. So I'll give you an example. What in terms of port operations, right? Today, the way traditionally how we've been operating is we operate every part of the port. So we have our own operators, we have our own truck drivers, we have our maintenance crew, we have everything. And it worked for us because there was not enough ecosystem at that point of time, good ecosystem to help us drive this objective. Now, as we move forward, what we have done is we've brought in partners, long-term partners with a horizon of 10, 15, 20-year contracts. We said, you operate the whole terminal for us. Our team is going to and you give us the productivity, you give us the uptime. Our job is to make sure that we bring in technology, so there is a continuous improvement in the system. And the second thing that what we've done is we have merged this thing with our skill development. Because one of the objectives that we want, and I'm sure every industry is facing, is the whole attrition of skilled manpower. Right? Because in India, you have 1.4 billion people. One side, we say that there is a lot of unemployment. Other side, industries are struggling to find trained manpower. So one of the things that we've done is we have mapped this with our skill academy, where from any project that we have, the hiring, skilling has to be done within the 50-kilometer radius. So you have to give skilling and opportunity to the local youth over there. So with that, two things happens. One, the attrition rate reduces because the stickiness is there of being from that area, geography. And second, you have a continuous pool of people coming in. So it helps you to reduce the risk that even the contractor or a partner would face. So this is something that we are going through, where not just in operations, but even in projects, where we are going through, where we are booking capacities, giving them 5-year contracts to book capacity, so that we are able to execute the project in the timeline which we have committed to our customers.
It's a wonderful approach. Let's talk a little bit about technology. We are actually sitting in the middle of the largest AI summit India has ever hosted. We have CEOs and experts from around the globe here. How do you see the impact of technology on your organizations, on the country as a whole, and on work, just on work? What do you think is likely to happen in the next 5 to 10 years? And how are you preparing yourselves to adopt technology rather than get bowled over by technology?
So I think this goes without saying that any organization which does not adopt to AI, honestly, 10 years down the line, they will not survive. And AI, I don't mean in one format, I think across the board. So the way I see it is, AI is not going to replace human being, but I think it's just going to make us more efficient. So for a work which we needed, let's say 5 people or 4 people, maybe you just need 1 person right now to do that. And that's what, so with that, I personally believe that it will it will allow us to scale up much faster, any industry.
Let me interrupt for a moment. So there is no doubt AI is going to be, if used well as a tool, going to be a phenomenal multiplier in what you can do. But it's also a fact that before people get reskilled, retrained, and get onto new opportunities, which will come because of technology and AI, there is going to be massive job losses as well. How do we handle the social outcome of that?
So I personally feel that that is a responsibility of any organization, especially large organization, that how do we retrain our people? Because without that, I agree with you, it is going to create a lot of social pressure. It means you are going to have job losses. But as a social, as a responsible corporate, because AI is not going to happen that today you switch on and tomorrow say it will start, right? It is a journey, even for an organization, a 2-year journey where you implement the tools, where you get the organization used to it, the change management. And one of the biggest part of the change management is how do you retrain your manpower. I do believe that it's not possible that 100% of them are going to get retrained. But yes, if we are able to achieve 50-60% of it, it will be very good. I think the second thing that will hamper is the new job creation, because as the country grows, and with AI, your efficiency comes in. Everybody, when they do your 5-year plan, we look at, we are going to go from here, from X to Y, and that's why we need manpower from X to Y. With AI, it's going to remain at X. So that's where the problem will happen. But that's also an opportunity in terms of how do we bring in more industries, and the faster we scale manufacturing, the better it is for country.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Kumle.
Thank you.